sometimes I like to produce beats that sound really old school. And I have a bunch of beats that I first produce without having any old school vibe, and then I go ahead and add some effects to make the track more old school. So I have here one of the beats that I did for my track, one of the tracks that I published. So let me maybe bring this one here. Okay, I think this one is the correct one. Let me jump to FL Studio. So if I play this from here, so this is one of the beats. It's already kind of sounds like a old school type beat, but one of the things, let me lower the volume here a little bit. So one of the things that I like to do when I go into making my tracks sound a little bit more old school, there's a couple of things that I like to use. So there's a nice plugin called Ozone the Vinyl from Isotope. This is a really cool one because we can already hear and see some scratches. So we have the warp, the scratch, and the dust. And this mimics the effects of a vinyl. And you can have here the ears. So this will sound a little bit more modern. But you can already see it removes a little bit of the high end. So if I go to 1930, so this kind of looks like a cell phone, those old cell phones or something like that. So this is always something that you have to take care of. So if you want really old school stuff, you can go to a lower ear. But I usually go maybe 1980s. This is a cool one that I like to use. You can change here the RPM, and this will not change the characteristics of the audio. It will only change the speed of the dust, of these effects here, the mechanical and electric, all that stuff here. So you can see here the wear. You can add a lot of wear to the vinyl. So you can play around with this stuff here. There's lo-fi. There's some effects, some cool effects. And as you can see, let me put this at 45 and we can increase the dust. You see now it's always there. So you might play around with this. There's scratches. I usually don't like to have scratches because this is very aggressive in the tracks. So it has to be very subtle. So I usually stay away from scratches. And then we have warp. So warp is kind of like warping the track with pitching up and pitching down. And as you can see, this is basic on a sine module or sine wave type of algorithm, something like that. I'm not quite sure, but as you can see, this goes up and down, and it kind of mimics the speeding up and speeding down of the vinyl here. Okay, and then we can also have some electrical noises, which is not good. You might want to use this to mimic something, but this is I don't like to use this too much. And then mechanical noises. So this is one of the ways that I like to use. So this is a really cool way and simple way to use it. Another way that I like to use is do the filtering myself. As you noticed, we lost a little bit of low end and high end. So what you could do is take advantage of a shelf like this, and then like this. And then you can fine tune how much you want in terms of the low end and the high end.
Daily beats production.
Something like that could be an option. So as you can see, it's very similar. Another thing that I like to do is add some lo-fi plugin. So we have here Air Lo-Fi. This plugin allows me to change the beat depth and the sample rate. If changing the sample rate sometimes might not be the best option, because you start to introducing a lot of distortion, and this is not that great distortion. And the sample rate has to be as high as possible. You can maybe put it around there, but you will start to hear some nasty sounds that might not be the best thing to do. But I will recommend to stay a little bit away from sample rate changes, but the beat depth you can change. And this reduces the quality of the sound on purpose to make it sound more old school. So this is 2 or 3 of the tricks that I use. You might also want to use some, there's a nice plugin from Waves called Kramer Tape Stereo. And this adds some tape saturation. There's also a free plugin from, let me see if I can find it. There's a free plugin from compression. Let me see. Is this one? No. Distortion, filter, Focusrite. No. I don't think. Is this NSP? I don't think so. Magnetit. Yeah, it's this one here. So as you can see, I think this one was free. At least I got it for free in Beat Magazine, but I think they sometimes have some promotions or some discounts, and you might be able to grab this one for free. So this is pretty much similar as this one. As you can see, it's tape saturation, and this helps you to get some really cool tape saturation effect that you don't get with simple distortion. So these are the ways that I use to make my tracks sound old school.